Hello and welcome to 33 Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Michael Abney. And this is the podcast where we talk with founders or people that are being in the world, doing something meaningful and talking about the human aspects and what we all go through as we navigate our way through this extraordinary time on earth. And I'm always blessed to be talking with people in that field to give us their insights, their takes, their wisdom about how they got here, where they're going, and what they see next for us. So I'm just so happy. On our pre-call, we reconnected. I really loved your mission, and I'm so happy that you are here today with me. I'd like to introduce Shannon Daniels. Thank you for being on the show today. How are you?
Thanks for having me, Michael. I'm great. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. So I'm going to read your credentials here. You are somebody who deeply understands courage and what it takes to speak, to be seen, and let the truth that we have inside of us be seen in the world. I know that's kind of what sparked me and was exciting to hear that, connecting to our voice, because I know how hard it is to have a message but not know how to relate that out, or the fear of reject, all the stuff that comes along with it. Yeah. So that's why I was so excited to dive into this today with you. You are a TEDx speaker, coach, and creator of Drop the Mic Moment. Can't wait for you to share about that. That's so cool. And a movement giving people a chance to own their own voice in public in a really unique way. I'm a big fan of learning in public. I do everything that way, because if we waited for everything to be perfect, nothing would really kind of take off. So with all of that, I'm honored to have you on and share your gift with us. And my first question to you is, what are you in the middle of right now? What transformation are you in the middle of right now?
Yeah, thank you so much, Michael. And as you mentioned, I developed this platform, Drop the Mic Night, for aspiring speakers. And over the last 2 years, I've really put my own speaking on more of a back burner. Not that I haven't been speaking at all, because I have, but I've really been focused on pushing other people forward. And so this year, now that we've got 2 years and 4 events behind us, my goal is to really step back out into the spotlight myself some more, with more keynotes and speaking, as I continue to grow Drop the Mic Night and our mission that we're working on to help elevate other speakers.
It goes back to that. We got to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first, right? That's actually one of the hardest things about is serving and all of the, living in life, doing what we do, forgetting about us, whether it's kids or family or work or missions, a lot of times that becomes that space in our lives that it takes over and we forget to take care of us or keep connecting to our mission. It sounds like that's what's happening to you, right?
Yes and no. I mean, my mission has always been to push other people forward. And that's when I derive the greatest amount of joy, is when I do that. And that comes often at the sacrifice of me putting my business or my revenue aside. And so these decisions are more about, how do I not only push myself forward again as well, but also continue to grow my business in a meaningful way. And when you talk about putting the oxygen mask on first, I literally wrote a book about that, and I call it Watering Yourself. Because if you don't water a plant, it starts to wilt and wither, and eventually it will die, right? And for us as human beings, if we don't water ourselves, we start to wilt and wither and waste away. But we often don't see that until it shows up in the form of disease, of anxiety, depression, overwhelm, burnout, and all these other things. So I know exactly what you mean there with that self-care and putting ourselves first with that.
It is. It absolutely is. But the catch is, or the hook is, how do we recognize when those signs are starting to, at first it's a little whisper, and then it's a little tap, and then it's a with what you were talking about, with the level of, where it affects our health, that's when it's like 911. But you picked up on that. Obviously, you're not hopefully not in a 911 situation.
No.
It's fine if you are. It's perfect. Wherever we're at, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the more that we do this, it's easier to pick up on those whiffs and those cues early and take action with them, so that Yeah. So share with me your experience of what were those little things that started to emerge in your world that started to, hey, next year I want to create a different space. I want to create a different plan.
Yeah, part of it was getting on stage at the Drop the Mic nights and feeling the energy in the room, being the MC and the announcer, and really just loving every minute of being up there and providing that platform, but also having that opportunity to share my message and my mission. And this year, I've slowly, again, been reinvesting in my own speaking and getting out there more. And each time I do, I just walk away feeling so energized and so full of life that it just told me, you need to lean back into this and you need to do more of this. It can't be all about coaching and supporting other people and providing them with the platform. That's wonderful. You also need to invest in yourself and your own platform and your own voice, because as I tell all my clients and everyone that I work with, it's we all have a story to tell. We all have a way to impact the world and take our passion and purpose and unique perspective and share that with others in a way that makes an impact, whether you're inspiring or educating or something else. And when we don't use our voices, obviously we can't make that impact and we can't be heard. And so as I've been leaning back into it, those whispers have become yells, and it's been, yes, just get out there and do more of this. And so I'm
Was
trying to listen to myself.
I know it's weird, right?
Listen to my own advice.
Exactly. It's so hard. So
It's easy to
necessary.
dish it out.
So hard. Because it's just that like we teach what we got learned the most. It's just like it's
Yep.
so in there. Like, but owning it and pretending that that's not happening is inauthentic too. So I love your authenticity about how you approach this. So when you are, I do like in a minute. I want to do a deep dive into how you created your space, like the drop the mic night, and
Mhm.
like how that's connected to your passion. But was there something about doing that you resonated with when you started to think about, before our call, I was telling you I'm getting ready to do something too, and
Mhm.
I haven't spoken in front of a larger audience since before the pandemic, and like everything changed after that, and now I realized I can't just go repeat what I did in the past. I want to bring all of me now. It's like inauthentic to, I have to start fresh and like
Yeah.
be in the now with this. What are you, at first it was like fear came up a little bit, but it was from my wanting to have it be of the highest value that I could give and really think about the dynamics of, it's awesome to hold a space for a lot of people to show up in, and you did that. I'm
Mhm.
wondering if that watching that mirrored anything back to you as you reignited this in your own world.
Yeah, I would say so. Watching other people soar, watching them step into their confidence, watching them to do things that they never thought they could do before, like step in front of a room of 150 plus people and speak when they don't think that they're a good speaker or if they've never
Yeah,
done it before. It's
yeah.
just really amazing and very empowering to see people step in that, and knowing that I was able to create this platform for people and help them own that and be there for themselves in that way was just so inspiring. And it told me, not that I have a fear of public speaking. I've never really had a fear of public speaking, I guess, because when I was starting from 6 years old, I was on stages dancing, but it's never been the fear of public speaking. It's more so been that, am I good enough? Can I get out there? The whole imposter syndrome thing, which I do teach on as well. As you said, we teach on the things we need to hear most. And the more I've been doing this, the more I've been saying, you know what? I'm always telling people just to get out there. And every no is just another step on the road to yes. And own your value and get out there and just do this. And so 2026, I'm going to be doing even more than I was in 2025. So taking this journey and through helping others, it certainly inspired me to take my own advice and not be held back by those things, that those little
Yeah.
voices in our heads that may tell us
Yeah.
the wrong
Yeah.
stories.
The wrong story.
Yeah.
So even though I'm curious about how that it actually started with you. And I'd love for you to share about the Mike Night and how you opened that to the public to help people.
Yeah.
I find that so fascinating. I would have been there in a heartbeat had I known about that. I lived in the city where you were doing this, but it's a really amazing idea. And I'd
Thank
just
you.
love for you to share like how this started, and is there somebody in that you can think of that had like was scared to death and or something that moved you about what you were doing as you were building this out?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually am a public speaking and communication coach and trainer by trade. That's what my business does. And over the past 10 years, we're celebrating 10 years this month in business. As I've worked with people, I'm working with folks that are new speakers, folks that have never been in front of an audience before, all the way up to CEOs and executives that may be terrified of speaking or maybe in the role and don't necessarily have a fear of speaking, but have trouble really leaning into their message or being authentic in the message that they're sharing. And so as I was coaching them over the years, folks would say to me, do you know of a safe space where I can go and practice, where there's not a lot on the line before I get in front of my colleagues or coworkers, or before I step on this high stakes stage? And I'm not a speaker agent, so I don't book people, but what I would try to do is reach out to connections in the community and see what opportunities are available. And I started ruminating on this idea of creating a platform or a stage because there's plenty of platforms and stages for experienced speakers. I've done a TEDx, I've spoken at large conferences and events. You know, if you have that experience, you can get out there and do this. But if you don't, getting started is so difficult. And some people, they didn't even want to go speak on larger stages. They just wanted to know that they could do it and build that confidence and belief in themselves. And so as I was playing with this idea, a friend of mine that I went to grad school with, who also does some public speaking training, reached out to me and said, there's a woman I know, she's looking for a place to practice. I don't do this, but I thought you might have an idea of where you could help her with this. And that was kind of my aha moment of, there's other people looking for this. This isn't just a me problem. There's other coaches. And the more people I started to talk to, the more I realized this is a real problem for aspiring speakers, people that don't have that speaking resume under their belt. Let's create the TEDx meets the Moth version for aspiring speakers and build it. And the first event sold out at 100 people, standing room only in the audience, and 10 speakers. The next event was sold out. We had to move to a bigger venue, and then we started partnering with nonprofits to also give back to the community and raise funds for those nonprofits. So our 2025 events did that. And now in 2026, we're talking to someone in Vegas who found us and is interested in hosting one, and already have a line of people requesting these events in their areas.
Yeah, I would think I would love to have you here to do that. That would be, I think
Yeah.
it'd be incredible. Because we all have some, it's like what you said, it's not everybody needs to or has a desire to be in front of a whole bunch of people, but that ability to say with clarity what it is that is your truest intention,
Yeah.
and not have it to be from defending or performing or any of those other things to try to get attention, like we were all sort of taught that
Yep.
that's how that it worked. But the reality is, the authentic part is like, I'm seeing something, I want to share it with people, my perspective. And that for me, as somebody that's always had sort of a world view, that's what's required. And the moment is pulling for us is to express our little facet of the diamond called life, that, the humanness between everything. That's what, you know, for I've been doing this for a really long time, and there's one thing that's always been the same, and that's the power of telling a story. Our
Absolutely.
story.
And
Is
people
that
tell
well?
me that,
Go ahead.
like, well, my story is not big or audacious, or I didn't have some major life tragedy. And I say it's those small moments that can have the biggest impact. You don't have to have this life-altering story that you tell. You just have to share your story and your truth, and that is going to connect with people. One
No matter
woman
where you're at.
yeah, one woman who spoke at this event, when I first met her, she had such high anxiety around speaking in front of people. I met her at a networking event. She was literally shaking. Her whole body was shaking, speaking to me one-on-one, and she started crying. And she said she could never do anything like this. Well, she spoke at our third event for Drop the Mic Night, got up on a stage in front of 150 people, and shared a story about her and her mom's relationship. And not only did she get up there and nail it, she won audience favorite. All the audience members voted for her. They loved her story so much. And hers wasn't a story of death or overcoming or anything like that. It was just this beautiful story of a mother and daughter's love for each other.
Yeah. I am moved by it. I think it's, well, first of all, I hear this all the time. Like having the podcast, I get people that I'm just not there yet. I've listened to your podcast and I'm not there yet. These people are, and it's like my attention. It's stated on the website. I want all the perspectives because what you said, to your point, is that getting started, that's literally the hardest part, is like to take that first step because you can't see the floor underneath you. But the reality is the floor does not appear until the foot moves.
Yeah.
So but how do you help people prepare for this? Hit me the other day when I was prepping. There's two things that are coming up I want to ask you, like in a real time moment. So what I'm experiencing, or what I became aware of that I've never become aware of, is that really what I want to bring to the room for the event that I'm doing here in St. Louis is I want to bring presence. I want to actually allow presence to be in this space. But that means I've got to be present in front of all of these people.
Yep.
And I realized that most of my training was tricks and tips and to override that, to perform on top of that. And I'm not bringing it this time. I don't need that no more. And I'm like, I'm going to learn to be present. But you know what the other side of that is? That when I really get into it, I'm really clear about the points. I'm clear about the message. I'm clear about the hook. Like, why are 250 people sitting in this theater right now? And it's because I want to do something about the loss of humanity that I'm witnessing on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And my awareness that at some point there's a tipping point where there's no coming back from that. And I want to do something about it and bloom where you're planted. And I'm planted in the 314. That's my hook. But see, I'm doing it right now. When I go there, I start getting really emotional about that. And I don't want to be sobbing. I don't want to be out of emotional control when I'm talking in front of people. So do you ever deal with this? This is like something that's really happening in my space. I thought I would ask you, since you're an expert. Like, how is that? What do you think? Give me your feedback.
Yeah, so there's a few things here. One, I'm always telling people that public speaking is just having a conversation with your audience. It just happens to be your turn to speak. And then after you're done speaking, you mix and mingle with your audience, and that's when the conversation goes back to being two-way, where they're responding. But they're always responding. They're responding in the way they lean in. They're responding in the way their breath catches. They're responding in their silence or lack thereof. And there's a lot of ways your audience is conversing back with you. So treat it like a conversation. And then also go in thinking about it in this way. It's about connection, not perfection. This is my line for eternity. It's about connection, not perfection. People get so hung up on having the just right words and not messing up and not losing themselves on stage and getting emotional. And forget that the whole point of this is to connect with other human beings. And so when you think of it from that perspective of how can I connect with them, it's absolutely okay to get emotional. If you do and you need to bring yourself back in, just take a pause, take a deep breath and recenter yourself and keep going. And people will respect the fact that you are so emotional. In fact, it's going to make you connect with them even more because they're going to see how connected you are to your mission and your message. And to show up authentically, I've developed my formula for authentic connection. And that is to show up with passion, which is the what you do in terms of transformations and outcomes, not in terms of resumes and titles, right? So what is it that you do? Like, what is the purpose of this event that you're hosting, and why are you even up there speaking? What is your So that's your passion. What's your purpose? Why are you doing this? Why do you do what you do? Why do I want to create this platform for speakers? Why do I care so much about authentic speaking? And there's stories behind each of those things, right? So that
Yeah.
purpose is our driving factor that pushes us forward. And then what's your unique perspective? And that's the thing people are always so afraid to open up with and lean into because, well, what if people reject my perspective? What if people don't like me? What if people don't agree with me? Well, guess what? You weren't
They're
meant for
not.
everybody. You will
Yeah.
attract the right people by leaning into your
Yeah.
perspective even more. So showing up
Yeah.
with passion, purpose, and perspective makes all the difference. And then when I'm working with people that come in to drop the mic night, there's an application process. We get applications for speakers. We have a scoring system that lets us select our top 10 speakers. And then if you're chosen to speak, you get free coaching and development from me leading up to the event. It's about an 8-week process, 2 months of preparation that goes into this, where I help them with their content development and their delivery and everything in between.
Because it is a lot. It's art.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that I'm seeing it in a new way, and you're right. I'm feeling that feeling again that I haven't felt in a really long time, and it's different. It's different. There's a freedom with it now that I've not experienced before. There's an
Yeah.
openness. There's a knowing that there's a connect that I have not experienced before, and to play with it and not have just be open to the whole experience of the entire event, start to finish. That's not just about that evening. It's about who I am and who we are as we create what we're creating, but it's coming from inside and it's coming from our heart space, not from up here. But I love that you are including in your heart space, taking care of yourself financially and focusing on that, because that is part of the oxygen mask too. A lot of people don't think that it is, but it is. It's not necessarily about money. It's about the energy of being in the exchange is really what I want. You know, like there's just been this barrier in my life for so long about getting paid for doing the thing that you love. And even the terrible things that don't have money, I know they come back energetically in another way, but I just feel like there's some convergence that's happening in the future where all of these triads meet in the same space, and we're on the path to that, and we're talking about it. So, what are you looking forward to like next year besides the like the new, like diving into speaking again and expanding open mic night and all of the opportunities that we can't even see yet? What else is like, is there something that kind of got you really excited for 2026, even though all of the stuff's happening?
I mean, that's it. Expanding the mission of Drop the Mic Night, leaning in more. I'm launching an e-course so more people can access what I do on a more accessible level and a work at your own pace kind of level, which is exciting. It's been something I was previously very resistant to, and finally said, I'm getting enough requests for this. I need to be able to make this available to anyone who wants to access it at a time and a schedule and a budget that makes sense to them, meet people where they are, right? And
Yeah.
so I'm excited for that. I'm excited that I've been expanding the corporate work that I've been doing. I've over this past few years doing more and more corporate workshops and events, which is always so much fun going in and learning with different groups. And I've been doing more with academia. So it's been really great to kind of bring everything full circle and bring it all together, all of my past experiences, and just kind of be able to have that ripple effect for going forward. Because Drop the Mic Night has really given me an opportunity to help not only adults in the community, but young people in our community, and being able to continue to have that kind of impact going forward into 2026 is going to be very special to me. And do I have time to tell you one quick story
You
about
absolutely
it?
got all the time you want. Absolutely.
Okay. So one of the young women who participated in Drop the Mic Night, we had 3 high schoolers, and the rest were adults that participated in our October Drop the Mic Night, our October 2025 Drop the Mic Night. And of those, 2 out of the 3 won first and third place. 2 of the high schoolers won first and third place. And the high schooler that won third place, at the end of the event, her father came up to me and he said, "You know what? You used to teach workshops for SCORE, didn't you?" And I said, "Yes. Why?" And he said, "I went to one of your workshops 10 years ago, and it was a room full of mostly men. And I said to myself, look at this woman standing in front of this room with so much confidence and owning what she knows. And I really hope for my daughters that they can do that one day." And it turned out that his daughter was the one that participated and won third place. And he's like, so this full circle moment, I just had goosebumps. And this is why I do what I do, is to inspire
It
others and
is.
to
It
help
is.
others. And I want to do so much more of that in the future. And I'm really hoping to take this Drop the Mic Night idea and expand it beyond just me running it and just my area, and push it out to where others like yourself can say, "Hey, Shannon, I
I'm
want to
happy to
run
do
this.
that for you here. I'm happy to do
Let's
that for
do
you here.
it."
I think it's an incredible, I would love it because that's one of the things that stopped me my whole life was like learning how to do that. And like from where I'm coming at now and what I just shared with you and everybody was that whole thing about the training and like how that
Yeah.
really was the thing that was in my way. I just couldn't see it till I'm having this experience. So I'm not terrified and traumatized by the experience or even thinking about doing it. It's actually it's the opposite. I want to lean into it, and but it's like that imposter syndrome does creep in, and like who am I? But your story reminded me of God. Just a couple of nights ago, I was reorganizing my channel for the podcast, and I have included old videos where I was like just starting to do videos. They're kind of funny to watch actually. But I was watching this one. It just came on. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Why this one? I never watched this one, or I never thought it was really good either until I watched it. I was like, oh my God, it's exactly 4 years ago. It was in 2021, right when that video was everywhere about those kids running after that plane in Afghanistan, grabbing on the wheels, and people died. Like that image, that was like a moment that apparently affected me in that moment that triggered the same conversation about community and humanity that in my mind, because it's so hard to remember with everything crazy going on. Oh my God, that was even back then. Like the time span, I was like, it just made it even more relevant to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can use that with videos, but we can also use it with our community. And then your community gave that back to you. Like, I love the mirrors of all of it, because what we're really talking about, those full circle moments, it's
Yeah.
evolution. It's like when you can have the full circle moment and go, I'm going to keep going because, yes, that. So this is a perfect way to like conclude our pod. That's just like a full circle. So is there anything that you would like to share with somebody that may be listening to this and their little voice in their heads going, I'm not good enough, I'm not ready? Like, what would you tell them?
Yeah. I would say start before you're ready, because you never will be ready. and focus on connection over perfection, because people don't connect with perfection. We connect with each other's stories and each other's backgrounds. And we, at the end of the day, we're humans and we just want to connect with each other on a deep core level. So don't worry about whether you're ready or the best speaker or the worst speaker. Just worry about, who can I connect with? Who can I impact?
Yeah.
Even if I
Yeah.
change one life,
What?
even if I inspire one person, that is an impact and that's a
Yeah.
difference made. So just
Yeah.
go do it. And the more you do it, it's like riding a bike. You get better and better and better.
Thank you so much. This was amazing. I love it. Thank you, Shannon, for being here. I appreciate your wisdom,
For having
and
me.
you've certainly inspired me. And yeah, I can't wait to dive in even more. But thank you for this conversation. Thank you guys for listening to our conversations. I challenge you to go out and have a conversation of your own with somebody that you don't know, somebody that you haven't seen in a long time. Just step out, have your own drop the mic moment. And we'll see you on the next conversation. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.